the Stranger Than Fiction podcast. I'm Chase.
And I'm Adam. Thanks for joining us tonight. And in case you missed last week's episode, fuck you. Go listen. Just kidding. Kinda. We established that Chase thinks that groups of powerful and secretive old white men control the world through infiltration of both private and governmental agencies. Does that sound about right, Chase?
I don't think the age is exclusive to old white men, but yes.
Yeah, I think it is old white men. But anyway, it's probably safe to assume then that the news media, arguably the most important establishment of our modern society and the glue that holds our democracy accountable, is also under the control of these powerful influences. Basically, over the course of the last few years, we've heard a shitload about fake news, and we've seen the importance of media credibility, or lack thereof, and the importance and influence of social media as a news source, particularly as we watch the last presidential election unfold.
That's true.
Fortunately for all of our listeners out there, we are not here to talk about the orange one, Facebook bots, or Russia. We are talking about headlines that sound like they are fake, but are in fact real headlines that we've kind of uncovered from the underbelly of the internet. As usual, if you have a story to add, we'd love for you to come talk to us on one of our social media accounts and let us know. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Are you ready for the first headline and story, Chase?
I'm excited to talk about these. They seem fairly strange, and I'm sure we will have a lot to talk about on them. But some of them are just wacky, so I can't imagine what the actual content beyond the headline is.
I found most of these headlines, or myself and our executive producer, Allison. Thank you. We found these headlines. I've shared the headlines with Chase, but he's not aware of the stories.
My imagination has ran wild with what these stories are. So I'm curious to see if my imagination is accurate or completely made up as well.
So I'll give you the headline, and then we can you can speculate on how you feel the story is, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the story, because I didn't just stop at the headline, of course.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so the first one, it's a real good one. I like this one. So the headline is, man gets shock of his life when he buys 2 toy poodles for $150, only to be told by a vet that they are actually giant rodents pumped up with steroids to look like dogs. Really long headline.
Yeah, I mean, is there more? That's like the headline that tells the whole story. I feel like I don't feel like there's much.
Well, not really. Okay, so
no, there's more to that story.
There's definitely more. So this story comes from a British newspaper. I mean, we'll link all these stories in the show notes so people can take a look at them. This one especially, there's a picture that I'll send you here momentarily that really helps sell it. Okay. But basically, this was a scam that was taking place in Argentina. The country apparently has a really large kind of bazaar or market, and this was a pretty common scam going on in the country for a while. People thought they were getting a great deal on toy poodles, but instead they were getting what the locals called Brazilian rats. Have you ever heard of a Brazilian rat?
I've never heard of a Brazilian rat, no. I mean, I don't know how different they are from regular rats.
Well, they're not really rats. They're actually a type of ferret. So he bought these, what he thought were poodles, and he took them to the vet, as any good dog owner would do, to get their vaccinations. And the vet basically told this guy, yeah, these aren't dogs. Let me send you a picture real quick.
I can't wait to. Is it? And as you send this picture, I'm curious to know your thoughts as to, would you buy this at face value, or would you be able to sniff it out right away that this was a rat?
I don't think they look at all like dogs, especially poodles. But basically what they do, this is a very common scam in Argentina, again, from what I've read.
Okay. And
these ferrets are given steroids from birth to increase their size, because normally the ferrets are pretty small. And then when it comes time to sell them, they are groomed excessively.
All right.
To kind of poof out their hair to resemble poodles.
Well, look, there's a couple of comments here. So one, it's cute. It's a little fucking cute creature. Regardless of what it is, it's a fucking cute creature. So, I mean, under the auspices of would I buy it and thinking that it's a toy poodle? Absolutely fucking not. It looks like a rat with fucking poodle hair. So that's like, you're not going to convince me at all that that's a fucking poodle. That's the first thing. Secondly, I've bought dogs, and toy dogs in particular. I don't fucking care if you're in the Middle East or you're in Argentina or you're in fucking Beverly Hills. A toy dog is not an inexpensive dog. So $150 for a toy poodle should raise some red flags that, hey, maybe this motherfucker's a rat. So yeah, they're very expensive. So the fact that somebody's handing you this fluff little thing for $150 should raise some red flags. And I feel like you're putting a tremendous amount of effort into this scheming for $150. I don't feel like anybody's getting a good deal in this thing. Like,
I mean, you're making a lot of margin.
Yeah, but you're putting steroids into fucking rats and
ferrets. Ferrets.
Ferrets are just an iteration of rats. But I don't think, I mean, it doesn't, the steroids that you have to pump them full, the time that it takes to raise these things, it seems like it's a rat. It doesn't seem smart at all, but I don't know. It's fucking cute. I don't know if I wouldn't, I mean, it's probably worth $150, right? I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't buy one, but I just wouldn't think that it's a toy poodle.
The story mentioned that you can buy the ferrets for like $50 or $75.
Yeah, but again, I don't know. It seems like a good deal to me. Not for a toy poodle, but for a fluffy rat, fluffy ferret. It seems pretty cool. I don't know. Have you
ever bought anything fake or knockoff?
I'm sure I have. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff that I've ever bought is probably fake or knockoff. I don't really. I mean, maybe not because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I've bought that. Probably for Erin. I probably bought some stuff for Erin that's probably knockoff that I said was real, but.
Like her ring,
like her ring, and yeah, all of the stuff that I've ever bought Erin, I bought in the Argentinian black market. That's my go-to spot for most things. But it's cute.
I mean, you recently just got two new dogs. How do you know they're not giant steroided up rats?
Well, if they are, again, they're fucking cute. So I'm okay with if they are. But we got to meet the parents of the dogs, and we talked with the breeder, and he seems like he's a decently good human that doesn't sell fake dogs. So
you don't think this guy that sold these dogs was a decent human?
I mean, maybe, but I feel like we've did our due diligence. But I will check after this to make sure that they're. We've taken them to the vet, and they didn't raise any red flags as to, hey, bro, these are rats.
Okay, yeah, so good call. I guess you've already taken to them vet, so you're probably okay.
Yeah, we'll know soon enough, I guess, if they turn out to be real dogs or robots or fake dogs.
So that was headline one. The next headline comes to us from the great state of Oregon. So here we have the headline: Oregon man changes name to Captain Awesome.
Oh, well, I am jealous.
So in this case, a guy named Douglas Allen Smith Jr., he went to the court and he officially changed his name with the Oregon courts to Captain Awesome. And I guess he was a big fan of the TV show Chuck. I never watched the show, but there apparently was a character on there who frequently referred to himself as Captain Awesome. So he wanted to change his name to Captain Awesome. He liked the show. And the first judge that he tried to get this name change through rejected the case. Basically, he thought he was joking.
I could see where that would happen.
So he had to argue in court. He chose not to hire a lawyer. He argued for himself, and he got a new judge. And do you know what this judge's name was?
No, I don't.
The judge's name was Douglas as well. So he had to argue to this judge why Douglas was a shitty name, basically.
Yeah.
And that was like the first question the judge asked, according to the article, was, what's wrong with Douglas? I think it's a perfectly acceptable name.
Well, that guy, he sounds like he has a serial killer name. What was it? Doug Allen something?
Douglas Allen Smith Jr.
Yeah, I mean, that sound, and then you add the junior on it. It literally sounds like every serial killer name that you've ever had. So changing it to Captain Awesome, or changing it to anything, maybe Captain Awesome is a bit to the extreme. But yeah, I mean, Douglas Allen, whatever the hell. It's a forgettable name, obviously, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Captain Awesome is a pretty good name for a superhero, or a pet name for your penis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I think it's a pretentious name for your penis. I mean, that's really going in there with some high expectations or something. But especially if you name yourself your own penis Captain Awesome, that's a bit pretentious. But
are you ready to meet Captain Awesome?
Yes, let me unveil Captain Awesome for you. And the fact that he went to a judge named Douglas, and then I mean that's just, and that sort of reminds me of the headline too, where the internet named that boat Bodie McBoatface or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
People just can't be trusted to make their own decisions for anything. So this is a prime example of why humanity just shouldn't be trusted.
One other interesting point on our friend here, Captain Awesome, he also got approval from the courts to change his signature. He signs his name Captain Awesome because he got this approved, not by signing it like normal person, Captain Awesome, but he signs his name as a right pointing arrow, a smiley face, and a left pointing arrow.
Now that's something I can get behind, because signatures I appreciate the visual that you just gave me by mimicking that signature, but it's that would be amazing. And do you have why do you have to get it approved through the court? Do you have to in order to sign symbols, is that when you have to get it approved through the court?
So he can sign like legal documents and stuff as the right pointing arrow, smiley face, left pointing arrow.
Yeah, see that is amazing. Maybe cut back on the pretentiousness of Captain Awesome, but I can support you doing the two arrows with the smiley face. I am all thumbs up with that signature, because that is badass.
So if you could change your name, would you?
Well, the only problem that I have with my name, and again, I'm not going to pretend like I would come up with something amazing, because I would probably change it to like, hey, I don't want to be Chasing More, I want to be Doug. That's just how lame I am. But the only problem that I have with my name, and we've discussed my lisp, and the alliteration of Chase Ferris, the S's on both of those names really starts to bring out the lisp. So maybe I would change it of some sort to something that doesn't have as much alliteration in it. That's something we really took into consideration when we named Eleanor, was, hey, it can't have a fucking S in it, because if she's got a big ass tongue like her father, it's going to sound terrible when she says something Ferris. But
I was thinking about your lisp when I was listening back and editing our last episode, where you talked about secret societies a lot.
Secret societies?
But you wouldn't change your name to Skippy? You were really excited to get that name.
No, I wouldn't change. I wasn't excited. I was just excited to be in the cool club of having a nickname. But Skippy Ferris also doesn't ring, doesn't fall off the old tongue either. So I don't know. I'd have to really start to take that into consideration. But I would change is my signature. I mean, my signature is barely negligible. Not negligible.
Just like a thumbs up sign.
Yeah, my signature is fairly legible now. So having just a symbol or like two dots or like a squiggly line is pretty much all I have already. So I could support that. I don't know what I would change my name to. Would you change your name? I mean, you're Adam Davila. That's pretty quintessential Puerto Rican name. I mean,
most people think it's Italian, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's where the pasta came from. But
I just
but no, I mean I think Adam's a good name, like we talked about last week. It's relatively rare enough that don't get too many Adams around, so it's good.
Well, you're not going to have too many Captain Awesomes either, though. So
our next headline, switch it up a little bit. This is a little more serious, a little more somber.
Okay.
So, man loses forearm after eating contaminated raw seafood.
Stop. How the fuck do you just lose a forearm?
Exactly. After eating something, right?
Well, but that's fine after eating something. I just don't understand, why don't they just say he lost his arm? Because you can't lose a fucking forearm without losing your arm.
Well, you just lose your hand and your forearm.
Whatever.
Basically, this is a Huffington Post article about a guy in South Korea. He was 71.
Ooh.
So he went to a restaurant and he ate some sushi.
I love sushi.
I hate sushi. I hate all seafood. So this story really struck home about why I don't eat seafood. But anyway, after about 12 hours after he ate this sushi, he noticed a